Late today, President Trump signed that executive order at the White House. It essentially allows the government to interpret Judaism as both a race or nationality and a religion, even though that is still open to interpretation by some. Steve Hunnigs from the Jewish Community Relations Council says the order is not about calling Judaism a nationality,
which is a complicated way of saying that discrimination is forbidden based upon race and other immutable characteristics.
This comes after the rise of what the president views as anti-Semitism on college campuses.
Discrimination can be based upon shared ancestry and ethnicity, even if the people share the same religion. It's a loophole within a loophole, or it's a loophole addressing a loophole. And that's the intent, and that's something that's important. It's important to Jews, it's important to Muslims, it's important to Sikhs, because it seems to find a way to give them protections under the law.
By signing this order, the president broadened the definition of discrimination under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That act allowed the Education Department to withhold funding from college or education programs, making it clear that anti-Semitism is also considered discrimination under Title VI. In an opinion piece published merely hours ago today, Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law and senior advisor, reiterated the president's intentions. He says, quote, "It has become fashionable among Jew haters to characterize any discriminatory behavior, no matter how loathsome, not as criticism of Jews, but of Israel. This is a lie." He continues to say intimidation of Jewish students has become commonplace on college campuses.
Will this executive order combat anti-Semitism on campuses?
That seems to be the goal of it, is to extend certain protections that we talked about before to the campus setting. It's been shown on some campuses, not all campuses, but on some campuses, particularly around Israel-related issues, that there is intimidation, bullying, mistreatment of Jewish students and or students who are supportive of Israel based upon their right to express their support for Israel. Many college campuses, what are college campuses for? People discuss, people to debate, people to argue.
So critics of this executive order say that they worry that this will stifle free speech on college campuses. But Kushner's piece in the New York Times seems to draw a line in the sand for where free speech ends and discrimination begins. They say this is a champion of fighting against a wider spectrum of discrimination.
All right, and Sharon, online, we've seen a lot of people have a lot to say about it, and I'm sure the conversation will continue there.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks.